a book boyfriend. I'm tired of people being such snobs. All right, you guys got mad when I stopped doing monthly reading wrap-ups, so we are back in 2026 with my first of 2026 monthly reading wrap-up. We're going to do it a little bit different though. I'm going to tell you about all 7 books I read in the month of January. According to commenters on Facebook, 7 is baby numbers. So I'm going to tell you about the baby number amount of books that I read in January, but then I'm also going to tell you my hopefuls for February, the ones that I've currently started, the ones that I'm hoping to read, the ones that maybe I think will be 5 stars. So we're going to go over the 7 books that I read in January. Spoiler alert, none of them were bad. I liked them all and I would recommend them all. So this is probably a reading wrap up that you're not going to want to miss because there are now 7 books that you need to add to your TBR. In these videos, I get a little bit more unhinged and we're honest because I don't have to filter as much of what I say on here. So you guys get all of the January reading wrap up tea and hopefully my camera does not die. So let's start out with the first book that I read in general in 2026, which was We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. And this, honestly, thankfully, was a 5-star read. My very first read of 2026 was a 5-star read. So this, literally, if I had to convince you to read it, this is The Vampire Diaries meets Red Rising. Red Rising is behind me. One of my favorite dystopian sci-fi trilogies. Yes, it is a trilogy. Don't even come for me right now. Literally, a trilogy is written on the book and the author calls it a trilogy. All the subsequent books are part of the overarching saga. Listen, I'm always right. It is what it is. If I say it's a trilogy, I'm not just making shit up when I say it. I'm being for real. Anyway, We Who Will Die is a 5-star read, and I've also been getting a lot of comments saying that this was not good, that I'm overhyping it, that it was predictable, that it felt like a romantasy. Spoiler, this is a romantasy, which means that it follows a lot of the rules of a romantasy book. And if you don't like romantasy, why are you picking up and reading a popular romantasy book? That is my question. Was this giving romantasy vibes, all of our favorite romantasy books mashed up into one? Yes. Is that why I liked it? Yes. Fergus is walking around screaming. He screams when he doesn't get what he wants, which is me chasing him. He wants to be chased. Kind of like in this. So this basically has gladiator style trials. So if you liked something, obviously a lot like Red Rising, but if you liked Throne of Glass, where the games and trials were a little bit more like face-to-face, gruesome, they're a lot more violent in here. The trials are a lot higher stakes. We've got a lot of people being unalived. We've got wyverns, we've got vampires, we've got a military academy, training, every single thing that I like. Now, was this, reminiscent of other romantasy books that I've read? Yes. The reason that this was good and that I rated this 5 stars was because it was executed with perfection. So I've read a lot of books that are a cookie cutter, predictable romantasy, and it's just boring. There's nothing fresh added. It's just like a copy paste. And it's clear that there wasn't just inspiration. It was literally like copy paste. This is a romantasy done like a romantasy book, but in a fresh, new way that is kind of predictable, but then is not predictable. But then it was enough of such a fun time that it had me giggling and squealing and kicking my feet. And yes, it is a love triangle. Also, people like to tell me it's not a love triangle because it hasn't fully developed yet. Basically, there were no love triangle activities in this book. There are 2 guys, both of which are vying for her love. And literally, if you like The Vampire Diaries and you love that moment in, I don't know what season it's in, maybe season 4, where he says he saw her first. Girl, you are gonna love this book. Anyway, this is like a romantasy book mixed with Red Rising, mixed with a CW show. It's got something for everyone. I totally ate it up. I'm tired of people being such snobs. Clearly, this is a vibes read. A lot of romantasy is vibes read. Romantasy is not Lord of the Rings. It's not Shakespeare. It's not Game of Thrones. A lot of romantasy is not going to be literary masterpiece. And listen, when I think it's a literary masterpiece, I'll tell you. But this was 6 out of 5 when it came to vibes, when it comes to the romance, when it comes to the banter. There's a lot of discourse going on recently on Book Talk about how every 5-star has to have the very specific same exact criteria. 5 stars is subjective, you guys. If you don't like this book, that does not detract from it being 5 stars for me. And if it wasn't 5 stars for you, please don't come back and tell me what a terrible review person I am and how you can't trust anything I say simply because you didn't like one book that I liked. This is a 5-star read, would recommend, yes. Let's move on before I get angry. 1.5, maybe a 1, and this is the first book in a series, so everybody shut up. It's gonna get spicier as the series goes on. Obviously, but we know when I recommend a book, especially if it's 5 stars, unless it's a standalone, I don't want spice craziness right out the gate in book 1. So 1 chili pepper, you can handle it, you can read it, the banter, the romance, the tension, and the yearning are all absolutely worth it. The second book I read in 2025 was also, thankfully, somehow, a 5-star read. And let me tell you something, my standards have not lowered. I've just been getting served recently with some really good books. Also, I've learned how to pick them out. I've learned not to just pick up anything that like Book Talk or even a friend is not always trustworthy. And I look at it and sometimes, you know, you have a gut feeling. You're like, I don't think I'm gonna like that very much. I'm usually right. This one I had a vibe of like, I feel like I'm gonna like it. This is also dark academia vibes. It takes place at an academy. And we have not only, like, the thing I like about this is it's fresh. We've got druids. So we've got a book boyfriend in here with horns and wings. I almost said horns and a tail. He doesn't have a tail, but listen, I wouldn't be mad if he had a tail. Raise your hand if you like a book boyfriend with a tail. Where my Cardin girlies at, like hello. But we have druids, but we also have elves. When was the last time you read a romantasy with elves in it? I'm here. I want 2026 to be the year of the elves. And then we also have celestials, which is a little bit more familiar with like our current romantasy vibe. This was really good. Now, if you like somebody like, okay, listen, hear me out. If you like Diem from Spark of the Everflame, but like Diem circa book 3, not Diem in book 1 and 2, where she's absolutely like insufferable, making crazy decisions. All the good parts about Diem, but then make her more of a badass, make her more self-assured, self-aware. The FMC in here, I know you're gonna go crazy because I just compared her to Diem, but it's mostly about like when Diem finds herself and is less insufferable. But like this FMC is one of the least annoying FMCs that I think I've ever read about. She makes solid decisions. She's not simpering over some guy just like going after him because she thinks he's attractive and oh my God, I'm supposed to hate him. No, she's upfront with you as the narrator the entire time. She's not gonna be one of those FMCs that has you being like, why would you do that? Like, no, I actually really love her. I love the side characters. I love this story. I love the academy. I do want a little bit more classroom time. I feel like we get enough of it. We get enough to learn about the tarot card system. A point that I wanted to make is if you read Arcana Academy and you didn't like it, or even if you did, if you felt like the tarot system was a little bit harder to understand, this one gives you more world building and magic system building when it comes to the tarot cards. So it's a little bit easier to understand in this book than it was in that one. So if you're confused or you're intimidated by tarot card magic, much easier to understand in here. This one has a little bit more of a fantasy feel. There is more world building, there is more plot, but interwoven in the most perfect, immaculate way is the tension-filled, banter-filled romance, like the sarcasm and the banter between these two people, these two FMC, MMC, absolutely top tier. Draven, at this moment, is gonna be my #1 book boyfriend of 2026. Now, we've got a whole year for somebody to surpass him, but right now, he is it. I love him, and it's really weird for me because he's not necessarily a red flag. He's not a deep, like, dark emo enemies to lovers. He's kind of like Dorian. Like, he's kind of a green flag, but he's like witty, he's sarcastic, and he's got that little bite to him. Plus, he's got horns and wings, so obviously. But it's like a reluctant allies to lovers situation. So this is not my big red flag, super unhinged, super dark, but this one was done so well that I ate it up the entire time. And I like a romance that is healthy, that is not super dark and twisted, when it is done in such a way that the tension, the yearning, the banter are all top tier enough to like make me like and care about the characters, which is exactly what happened in here. So 5 stars for A Vow and Vengeance. This one, I would say, is maybe like a 1.75, maybe 2. I feel like there's like 2 to 3 spicy scenes in this book. We don't get penetration, which the spice was so good in here that I forgot that. Somebody brought it up during the book club meeting and I was like, wait, you're right. He never went in there. They just did other stuff. So, you know, this would say it's like a 1.75, maybe 2, you know, and again, this is the first book in a series. It is gonna get spicier. If you can't continue on with a romantasy series because the first book had a good slow burn and they weren't getting it on for 100 pages, I am, at this point, I'm not even sorry about it. I'm judging you at this point, so. All right. Then we read something a little different. If you liked The Silversmith and if you liked Kissed by the Gods, I feel like this is sort of a witchy, dark version of that. So I personally didn't like Heartless Hunter, but I feel like this kind of did what I wanted Heartless Hunter to do. And this is what we like to call lovers to enemies. You guys, like the way that these two, if you read something like The Lies of Lena, Sins of Silas, that series, this is going to follow memories. We're going to get to know our characters in the present day, but then we're going to have flashbacks. These two fell in love younger, and then as romanticy has, now they have re-met each other, current day, as mortal enemies. And I love the tension, kind of the yearning. It's not necessarily yearning, it's more like angst that comes with like absolutely hating someone that you loved in another lifetime, in another time period. You know, I feel like that's more emotional, it's more dark. And this is for our witchy girlies. So we've got witches, and then we've got daemons, and then we also have an FMC in here who has been blessed by the daemon god. So she has bad powers, basically. She's kind of a villain, she's kind of morally gray. And again, for our Vampire Diaries girlies, just because you'll get this reference, basically her power is similar to something like compulsion. So if she tells somebody to do something, she can make anybody do anything that she tells them to do. And then she's kind of not really shunned, but questioned in her coven because they worship a different good god who would never give a power that had control over people like that. So this is very interesting. It's very different. The world feels different. And this is sort of for our quest girlies. These people are on a quest. We're having a lot of forced proximity in here, and we've got a little bit of captor, captee type of vibe, which I love a captive vibe when it comes to a red flag book boyfriend. Now this man in here, I have mixed feelings about the book boyfriend in here. I'm unsure yet, and book 2 is gonna come out not too long from now, so I don't really wanna say too much about what I'm thinking because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything for myself or for people who are watching. But this, I would say, the spice level is also about a 1.5, 1.75. Yes, we definitely have spice in here, but it's not going to be every other chapter, and there is going to be a slow burn before you get to it. I rated this one somewhere between 3.75 and 4. I feel like I would round up to 4 if I was putting on Goodreads, but this was really good. This is also feeling like the start of something bigger. So I'm feeling like the relationship's got a lot of stuff to go through. We just sort of got into like the world and the magic and our FMC embracing her power. So if you read and loved Silversmith, which was a really popular book in 2025, this is giving very similar vibes as far as the way that the story goes, but we also have a completely different magic system, which is, I think that the powers and the way that they use them and the sort of more dark, almost gothic feeling vibe is a little bit more tailored to me and my dark emo self, but this is definitely one you need to add on your TBR. I've not heard anybody talk about it. It's a very underrated book right now, and I feel like we don't have enough books about witches. So put this on your TBR. Loved it. 3rd book I read in January, so. Okay, then we went on a little bit of a dystopian kick for the remainder of January. I randomly saw someone talking about this on Book Talk, and they were putting it in a stack of books where they said, books that will make you sob. And I said, add to TBR. That's really all I needed to hear. I didn't know that it was dystopian. I literally didn't know anything about it until I picked it up, and I actually half eyeball read, half audiobook read this. So I listened to it, but I like to read the first 100 pages with my eyeballs so I know what the names look like. I know I'm a very visual person, so I read it first and then I popped back and forth. And I didn't know that it was dystopian, but this is sort of a mixture of dystopian and fantasy. So we have a dystopian world, a dystopian setting, sort of post-apocalyptic vibe, but then our FMC does have magical powers. She is a healer. She is gifted with the ability to heal basically anything to an extent. You know, there's always limits that come with magical powers, especially when it comes to healing. And this is for people who like emotional damage, straight up trauma, like if you want to cry, you want to be sad. And I have heard, and I've read this so can confirm, I've not only heard that Bones is extremely sad and traumatic, but the second book in the series behind me is called Fangs. I have heard that somehow Fangs is even more sad, traumatic, and emotionally damaging than Bones. So we've got like probably the most immaculate found family healing vibe in here. So if you liked that when you read something like Throne of Glass, you love all of the characters, the found family, the fact that you care about people other than the FMC or the main character that you're hearing from, this has like the most lovable crew of characters ever. And it's dark. It's really dark. Honestly, it reminded me kind of Walking Dead simply because when I listened to the audiobook, for some reason, all the characters had semi like Western accents. There's no zombies in here. We don't really know what happened to the world. We don't know why, how it became post-apocalyptic. I'm actually hoping that we'll learn reasons for that in book 2 in Fangs. The only thing I will say about this is I wouldn't look up anything about it. I honestly wouldn't talk to anybody about it, and I'm not gonna tell you to the extent that other people told me like about this book. Just go into this one super blind, other than the fact that I told you that it's emotional damage, that it's found family, that it's dystopian. That's really all you need to know, because I feel like when I told people I was reading this, a lot of people came into my DMs and sort of like trauma shared with me before I had finished, and I was like, I do feel like the end of this book was spoiled for me just by the way people were speaking about it in my DMs. So just like don't talk to anybody about it. Read it, pick it up, enjoy it. Let me know if you cried at the end of it. Let me know if it served its emotional damage purpose. And I will go on and continue reading with Fangs, which I don't understand how it can be more sad than this, but apparently it is. So I will update you. I will let you know Fangs is gonna be on my February TBR. So 5 stars for Bones. The audiobook was great. It's not duet narration or anything, but it was a really, really good audiobook. We continued the dystopian kick with the best dystopian romantasy that I read ever, which is going to be Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. This was like a 6-star read. This was really, really, really good. And let me tell you something about it. There's a reason I think that this worked so well, and it is because it's written in limited third-person POV. Now, I get a lot of comments, I get a lot of people saying like they absolutely will not read anything if it's in first-person POV. I'm gonna ask you to broaden your horizons. I'm gonna ask you to try with this one, because the reason that the end affected me so hard, which is really, really hard to do, it's really hard for me to not see something coming. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I can still enjoy, I can still like, I can still feel things from a plot twist, but it is so rare for me to get to the end and for me to have not seen the plot twist coming at all. Like I did not see it. It didn't happen, and didn't have that moment where I was like, oh, I kind of didn't see that coming. I feel like that was in the back of my mind. This was not even anywhere near the back of my mind, and it's not one of those plot twists that comes out of nowhere that doesn't make sense. Like it makes sense. It destroyed me and it ruined my day in the best way, and that is what made this a 6-star. There's also hefty dose of emotional damage in here. Also, these people, the FMC and the MMC, I'm calling them the FMC and the MMC. There's actually 4 characters that you're following. There are 2 characters in here that get much more page time, but there's also another romance happening with another set of characters. So similar to something like Crescent City, you're following multiple romances, you're following multiple people, and this has like a cast of characters where like everybody's kind of separate in the beginning, and they all like just beautifully come together throughout the book, and then at the end to completely blow you away with emotional damage and trauma and craziness. And this did the dystopian part correctly. So I've read some books, Silverly mainly, just that say they're dystopian, but the dystopian doesn't really seem to have thought put in it. It doesn't read like a dystopian. It reads like a romance that just has a dystopian setting. The dystopian part, the politics, everything in here, the end of the world feeling, just everything just actually had thought and process and like care put into it. So the story made sense. The story was a story. Like I cared more about the story honestly than I did about the romance. The romance was a really excellent part. The banter was absolutely unhinged. These two literally tried to unalive each other multiple times in this book. Were they attracted to each other? Yes. But did they literally come across as hating each other? Yes. I would call this actual enemies to lovers, which I think, you know, a lot of things are not really enemies to lovers, and these people were not necessarily enemies the entire time. I feel like we went back and forth, but I do feel like it really did feel like enemies to lovers, which is very impressive. I feel like it seems like people are scared to write true enemies to lovers because they're scared that people won't like their book boyfriends. I don't want to like your book boyfriend. I want to hate him. I want to feel like I despise him and I'm getting the ick from him, and then I want the character development to be so beautiful that I'm somehow crawling for a person that I swore I would never like. That's what I want in enemies to lovers. This was a little bit like in the middle. Like they definitely hated each other. They were definitely attracted to each other. There were moments of softness within the hate, but they really did try to unalive each other multiple times in this book. Like it's not a fake out. It's not a like, oh, she saw his face and then decided not. She pulled the trigger multiple times, and then so did he. So if you want enemies to lovers, literally I have no notes on this book. It was so good. I can't believe it's only going to be a duology. So Python is the second book in the series. I don't remember when it's supposed to come out, but it will be on my immediate TBR when it comes out. This was a god-tier dystopian romance, so add it to your TBR. Chili pepper content, I would say, is probably, again, like between 1 and 2 chilies. Like, we've got some steamy, like, hot moments in here, and there is spice in here, but this is also a very immaculately done slow burn. So listen, if you are not taking these recs because you're seeing chili pepper content below 2, again, I'm judging you, quit doing that. All right, we also read another dystopian book. I literally just finished this one like 2 days ago. It is called This Safe Darkness by Alexis Maragold. And I met her the other week at a book event, and she gave me a PDF copy of her book, and I said, let me read it. This one now, listen, this one is super short. This one's like just over 300 pages, so it's a much quicker read. And this one was giving a little bit more of like a new adult, young adult vibe. It is a series, and I have heard from the author, it is going to get progressively more spicy with each book. I don't know why I feel like I have to explain this to you guys, but like this one is more like world building, fast-paced plot. Like, this is not like boring. I don't mean like world building as in you have to work to get through it. This one's honestly fast-paced and interesting from the very beginning. That is what I liked about it. It was not slow. It really did feel kind of like Divergent mixed with The Handmaid's Tale. So we have a little extra feminine rage in this one. This is a world where, similar to The Handmaid's Tale, women's worth is based on how fertile they are and how many children they can produce. So we've got like tiers of class, and you are lower on the tiers if you are unmarried, if you don't have children, if you can't have children. And our main character has an ailment that is not allowing her to have children. So she is at the bottom, she is nothing. And basically it also then starts to mix in a little bit of the Hunger Games vibes, where if you are at that lower tier, you're put into a draft to sort of be called upon to go out and sort of help unalive these kind of zombie creatures that are called souls. So this dystopian element comes from the fact of something has happened with the sun, where if you are exposed to the sun, you kind of turn into this zombie-like creature. We basically have our tributes who are filmed, they are on TV. It's definitely like giving Hunger Games. If you liked the Hunger Games, this is just a little bit more of like a female-oriented Hunger Games. So they've got to go up there, they have to fight these zombies that are called the souls. They're sun-infected. And then also our characters live underground in a cave situation, so they are also not really supposed to be exposed to the sun. So we do have a man in here who is very suspicious. He may or may not have glowing eyes, and I am really feeling like this was a perfectly well done slow burn, tension. Yes, we've got romance in here. Yes, romance is a good part of it. I would say that this is like one chili pepper. This is sort of like a new adult, young adult book, but the series is not going to be young adult. There is going to be spice in book 2, and I don't know how many books this is going to be. But this one was really interesting and really different. Like, this was really taking me back to like my favorite dystopian books that I read when I was younger. This sort of felt like, honestly, kind of like you picked it up straight out of the 2000s. I really had a good time with this. It was very hard to put down. I finished it in like 36 hours strictly because I was really busy with work. I probably could have finished it in a day if I had nothing going on. This one I rated, again, between 3.75 and 4. This is a book that is the start of a series. So I feel like I really loved the book. I really liked it. I do feel like the series is going to have a higher rating than this first book. Had a really good time with it. Definitely will read book 2, and I think that if you are on a dystopian kick like me, this is definitely one you should add to your TBR. It's a little less like crazy serious, dark feeling. Like, it is dark because it's dystopian, but it's a little bit more of like, you know, an easier read. It's not going to put you in the depths of despair, the depths of depression. We've got, you know, found family in here. We've got, you know, a Hunger Games feeling thing where we're filming people battling it out for the entertainment of the corrupt society. So I feel like it had every single thing that I liked, had a really good time, and would definitely recommend it. And then for our fourth wing Dragon Rider girlies, I also read, actually I listened to Unbound, which is a military academy, Dragon Riders, but listen, it's dragon riders, but the academy is not just for dragon riders. Basically, it's for kind of what I would call animal familiars. So instead of earning the respect and the place of a dragon, you bond with like it can be anything. So our FMC, obviously, she's a dragon rider. She bonds with a water dragon, which I really love. That was giving me like Dratini vibes, but he's like a super sarcastic water dragon. And then we also have, you know, friends at the academy, other people who bond with other animals. So it's got a lot more humor in it. It's got a lot more, you know, I don't know, creature diversity. If you're not just into dragons, you're into a lot of other things, which personally I am. I thought the dragon in here was hilarious. And there is a heaping dose of emotional damage, guys. Now, this is one of those books that started out really kind of giving Fourth Wing vibes, but then it really went out on its own and became a really good, completely different, super good, like it's vibes. It's obvious it's a vibes read. I would not say this is like a literary masterpiece. It's not like gonna change your life, but I feel like this vibe was so good. Like I did not want to stop reading it. I did feel like the romance in this one was a little bit lacking for me just in the tension. However, I do feel like by the end, we kind of went somewhere with it that was a little bit different than I thought we were going. So I would say this one was a 4-star for me because truly, I'm very picky about the romance. And if it's gonna be a romantasy, obviously the romance is a big part. Like if this had just been a fantasy book and it had been only about the dragon, animal familiars, military college, I probably would have rated it higher, but the romance annoyed me a little bit. That is the reason that it's 4 stars. The story, excellent. The vibes, excellent. The dragon, hilarious. And he also turns into like a big, like, what is it called? What's that Pokemon called from? Oh, it's not Goldeen, it's the other one. What's the big orange one that flops around? His sort of like, he hides the fact that he's a big powerful dragon, so he presents himself as a dopey like fish with a mustache. Not a mustache, but you know, like a catfish. What is that? Magikarp. Presents himself kind of like Magikarp. All right, it is a completely different day because my camera died and I also realized I'm in a completely different spot. But listen, this is part 2 of the video. We're gonna go over the top 5 books I am most excited about for February after we did our January reading wrap up. So this, let me know if you like this format. Do you like seeing the books that I've read? Do you like seeing the books that I'm excited about? I'm only gonna go over the 5 that I'm most excited about. I hope I'm able to read more than 5 books in February, but we'll see. So the first one we're gonna start out with, now this is supposed to be a super dark, romantasy standalone that actually checks all of the boxes. I'm super critical when it comes to standalone, so I'm very excited to read this and let you know whether or not it's over, under, or appropriately hyped. But The Poison Daughter has been literally recommended by everyone. Now, Kayla, my book bestie, recommended this. However, Homegirl also recommended Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields, which is my least favorite standalone in the entire world. Like, I absolutely despise that book. So I really hope that that doesn't happen with The Poison Daughter. This one is like a really high expectation book. Like, I'm expecting this to be 5 stars. I'm expecting it at least to be 4.5 stars. Now, standalones have a really hard time like feeling deep and immersive and not super quickly wrapped up at the end for me. So we'll see how this goes. I've also heard that this is really dark, which I have really high standards for a super dark fantasy romance too. So we will see if The Poison Daughter lives up. If anybody's read it, is it gonna be a 5 star? Do you know generally what I like? I'm a Feather So Vicious Court of Ravens duology girl. Am I gonna like this? Is this gonna pleasantly surprise me, or am I gonna come back on here and tell you that it's overhyped? Who knows, but it's supposed to be really good. So for our standalone girlies. And then since we read Bones in January, we are going to read Fangs, the second book in the series, in February. Now, the reason I didn't start it already in January is because I listened to Bones on audiobook, and for some reason, Fangs is not available in audiobook yet, which was really disappointing because I had my momentum going, I was ready, and I'm just like not ready to eyeball read that story for some reason. Like, it's feeling good to me as an audiobook, and I kind of don't want to jump into the book. And you guys might be like, girl, why are you holding a physical book then if you're not gonna read it? I needed a book trophy because I know it's gonna be good. This is one that, like, if this is bad, I'm gonna be really surprised, and I'm gonna have to like humbly admit how wrong I was because I'm so sure that this is gonna be a good time. A bad time. A good time because it's a bad time. That's why I'm sure I'm gonna like it. This is apparently going to literally obliterate me. This is supposed to be absolutely devastating. So that's what I want. And Fangs is the second book in, it's called the Bones series. I'm not sure how many books are gonna be in it. I thought it was a duology, but apparently it's not. So we're gonna read this. I'll let you know how it is. Bones was 5 stars. It was like 4.5 stars. So we'll see if this is better, or if I don't like it and I surprise us all. So this is also dystopian. So for our dystopian girlies, this is giving a little bit of like dystopian with a flair, a little whisper of fantasy thrown in as well. So, okay, so Dark Academia, this one came out of nowhere. I wasn't really planning on reading it this soon, but then people are talking about how good it is. So we're gonna have to read Half City by Kate Golden. This is, I didn't realize it was Dark Academia. It's a demon and a demon hunter. So I feel like a lot of the Dark Academias I've been reading lately have been like vampires or shifters or kind of gothic. Like this is giving like a different vibe. This is giving a different setting. I have already started this and I really, really like it so far. So if you are worried that I wasn't gonna like it, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be really good. I already like Kate Golden's other series, the Dawn of Onyx, the Sacred Stones trilogy. So I have really high hopes for this because I already know that I like her writing. But so far, this is even better than a Dawn of Onyx, than the Sacred Stones. So I feel like this is gonna be a 5-star read, but we'll see. A lot can change between like the halfway point and the end of a book. So I really hope that I don't eat my words. But this one is a hopeful, but is also one I've already started. So I can go ahead and tell you, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be really good. Now this one, guys, I'm almost done with it. I do pop back and forth and I have already started this one. Souls in Ruin might overtake Feathers So Vicious and Shadows So Cruel. It might overtake the Court of Ravens duet. Now the reason I can't quite tell you that yet is number one, I haven't finished it, and number two, this is not a completed series yet, so I don't know where we're gonna go, but this is quite literally the darkest thing I've read in 2026. Like this is absolutely obsidian fantasy romance. This is not just dark fantasy romance. This is like extra dark, so many trigger warnings. Like if you are uncomfortable with, you know, certain things when it comes to the romance, when it comes to spicy elements, when it comes to that, like there is non-con for days in here. Like this is dark. So this is for our extra dark girlies, which means I probably am really gonna like it because I am, hello, it's me, I'm the extra dark girly. That's all I crave and want, is to be made to feel things that make me super uncomfortable. So this one, Souls in Ruin, I am foreseeing, I'm going to predict now that it is going to be my favorite book of February. I'm also predicting it's going to enter the list of God tier books. I am skeptical to call it that. This is the first book in a new series, so we'll see where it goes. But so far, this is absolutely unhinged levels of dark. Like this is so dark. Dragon girlies, dragon shifter girlies. Why is no one talking about Fear the Flames? Number one, like it has incredible Goodreads reviews. Like it's not one of those books that's sort of like an indie book and you don't really know much about it. The reviews are iffy. Some people really love it. Some people really hate it. Like this has universally good reviews. And then whenever I kind of bring it up and say that I'm reading it or say that I'm talking about it, people are like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like one of my favorite books ever. Where are the reviews on Spark the Flames? Like, where are you guys? Where is this on Book Talk, on Bookstagram? Like, I haven't seen anybody talk about this and I haven't started it yet, but this probably is my second most highly anticipated. Like, I'm expecting to rate it really high. Like, if this isn't a 5-star for me, I am gonna be disappointed because this one has been very hyped up for me. Like, it's been so praised that I feel like there's no way that I won't like it, which sometimes, you know, that's kind of like a catch-22. Like I might have heard so much good about it that I'm like, it's not as good as everybody's saying it is, and I'm gonna call it overhyped and I'll probably make everybody mad. But this one, I feel like this might be my second like potential 6-star read. If it is not, like this is not even like I hope it's 4 stars, like this better be 5 stars. I think it's got dragon shifters in it. I think maybe it also has trials. I'm not really sure, but like this has like a 4.5 or 4.6 on Goodreads, which is crazy. Like it's got such a high rating, and I haven't seen a single negative review of it. So Spark the Flames, final book on my February hopefuls, and girl, this better be 5 stars. If you've read it, let me know. I have not heard anybody discount that it's gonna be 5 stars, so I would love to know if anybody's like, you're about to waste your time and everybody lied to you. Like, please tell me if that's the case. All right, that is my January reading wrap up and my February hopefuls. Let me know if you like the style, if you like seeing the wrap up. Also with the hopefuls, do you want 2 separate videos for them? I don't know, literally just let me know what you like. Are any of the books on my February list going to disappoint me? First of all, let me know. I wanna know, scare me, get me all nervous, make me think I should take one off, and then I'll probably end up liking it and making everybody mad. And then also let me know if you've read any on the February TBR that are like guaranteed 6-star reads. Would love to know that as well. I am gonna be working on my February list. I'm gonna be working on my God tier dystopian list. So I'm gonna be bringing those to you. I hope you're excited about those. I have a lot of dystopian books that I feel like I don't get to talk about a lot because they're not spicy. But I'm gonna bring them to YouTube because you guys actually appreciate the non-spicy stuff. So I'm thinking we're gonna do a God tier dystopian and then like a God tier like fantasy roundup. So like romantasy, my favorite top 5, spicy romantasy, top 5 young adult romantasy, top 5 like fantasy, like high fantasy that's not focused on the romance, and then just like God tier favorite of all time, no matter what category it's in, it's gonna be better than all the rest. So I kind of want to give you a deep dive into my favorite fantasy and high fantasy because I am a high fantasy girly. I love high fantasy. It doesn't even need to have a whisper of romance in it for me to like it. So we're gonna do dystopian, we're gonna do fantasy. Let me know if you wanna hear about contemporary romance because no one ever wants to hear me talk about contemporary romance. And I read those. I also read thrillers. So YouTube is where you guys get everything unfiltered. So if there's anything you're missing out on that you don't get on Instagram and TikTok, I can bring it to you here. You just gotta let me know what you're willing to watch. So, all right, I'll see you next time.